Hey,
How you doing, Michelle?
live.
Good.
See who's on? Hi, Joyce. Joyce came on. I'll just say hello to a few people.
Okay.
And Joyce, if you can just type in and just say hi so we can see you. Or not.
Oh, Linda from Milf. Oh my God, I'm so happy to see her. Linda Gottlieb. Great.
Hi, Linda.
She's a fantastic health coach and trainer.
I'm just asking Courtney. Hi, Joyce. Thank you. Let me move this out of the way.
Linda is a Silver Harmony, if I remember. Is that right, Linda? Can you chat? Can you send? Pretty sure, or Safran Harmony. I can't remember, but it's been a number of years. I worked with Linda when I first my first book came out. So
Linda, we're the same, you and I. Silver Harmony.
Safran is silver.
Silver, she said.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Hey, Meg. I'm not sure which Meg that is. Let's see.
So it is 11 o'clock out here in California, and 2 o'clock in the East Coast.
We'll start on time as everybody starts coming in.
Sounds good.
Hi, Meg Shay. A bunch of people are coming in, so we'll get started. So welcome everybody to our second webinar. We're super excited. We've had so many requests to bring back Suzanne, and especially for health coaches, my favorite people. Hi, Suzanne.
How you doing?
Happy to have you. I have my cat snoring behind me on my chair. Pumpkin. Good. So today's webinar is all about you guys as health coaches, also personally. I know some health coaches have personally, struggled with this time of uncertainty with their own exercise and routine, and their coaches. So, Suzanne and I have been talking about really how can we serve you guys as health coaches, and that you can just motivate your clients, but also for yourself personally. Hopefully you'll get something out of this as well. And I just want to welcome all of you today. I would say let's all get up and jump up, but I won't do that.
Wait.
Love the topic of exercise. And Suzanne, you've just been a wonderful, not only friend, but mentor and incredible author of the 8 Colors. And this has just been, your methodology has just been this greatest tool in my toolbox as a health coach. And I really wanted to share that with all of you today as well. So let's first start and introduce Suzanne. Hi, Suzanne.
How you doing?
More people are coming in. So who here has taken the 8 Colors quiz? If you could just type in and just tell me you've taken the quiz and what your color is, and just share a little bit for a minute. And if you haven't taken the quiz, okay, Judy's a green. If you haven't taken the quiz, you can find the quiz at the8colorsofitness.com. Silver Harmony, Safran, great. And also, go ahead, Suzanne.
No, I just saw green, and they're the best gardeners.
Alan's a blue. Yes, they are.
Right.
And so if you haven't taken the quiz, you can take the quiz after and email us if you have any questions. And so Suzanne Brue is a researcher, writer, consultant, and love your theory behind the connection between personality and physical exercise. It's brilliant. And I'm sure a lot of you out there are familiar with the Myers-Briggs. I know I was, and that was my draw to reach out to you, Suzanne, and understand this whole concept behind fitness and, you know, the science behind it all. So Suzanne, she began her career at the college at Trinity College and the University of Vermont, and she inspired students developing the interest in the study of personality and individual differences, and became a student of the Myers-Briggs type indicator. And you're an avid swimmer, and you are what color?
I am a purple harmony. So I love swimming laps and zoning out, and I like to do it by myself. That's what I'm doing a lot these days.
Great. So we're going to take, you know, we're going to kind of just dive in. Again, we want to hear from all of you, some of your questions you have. And also, I want to go back and just, I'm curious, as health coaches, who's a health coach on the call? Some of you may be, some of you aren't. And maybe where you graduated from, if you want to share as well. Just want to hear from a few of you. I know Meg's a graduate of integrative nutrition. I know we have some well coaches on here.
Great.
And so I have so many exciting things I'm going through. So basically, you know, it's a very uncertain time for most of us. And, you know, Suzanne and I were speaking this morning that, you know, I think one of the biggest struggles for a lot of people is this, people are out of their routine. And then how are we going to keep our clients motivated? So that's what we're going to talk about now. So if anybody has a question and you'd like to share, you know, maybe one question for Suzanne, we can start with that. Around your color or
You know, Michelle, I just maybe want to just start off by saying that I think what is unique about the 8 colors, as opposed to other ways of thinking about fitness, it starts with the person and the person's individual motivation, approach, the way they like to be with others, how they interact with nature, whether they like gyms or not. It doesn't start with the exercise. So often trainers will start with the exercise and not think about personality. So this starts with personality. That's the starting point, and that's what's different.
yes, and we've talked about, you know I learned in school about as being a health coach, bio-individuality and how everybody's different. And as a coach, I've had to learn to listen to my clients, coach them from my perspective or my color as a silver.
Right.
So I found this very powerful with addressing all the different personalities and not trying to change the client into fitting into a silver box. So we have Michelle, who's a Safran. So Suzanne, Michelle asked to address the assertion that Myers-Briggs has been debunked.
Okay, well, I'd be happy to do that. I just want to do it briefly. It hasn't been debunked. It is about, in the quiz, the assessment is about 66% reliable. You always need to validate what your personality type is. You don't just get your personality type and say automatically that is what it is. So the starting point is to take the quiz and to go from there. But it's still the most widely used personality assessment in the world. So some people, so it hasn't been, I would say, debunked, but I think you need to use it wisely.
So can I ask a question, Michelle? Have you used the 8 colors in your practice or personally? Let's see if she answers
So
that.
I think she's fine. This is, she's okay.
Anyway, so
Thank you.
so one of the things that So I've been a coach over 10 years now, very busy constantly. Even though I work in Naples, most of my clients are in Los Angeles and New York. I have an online practice. And, you know, what's interesting is I always like to say there's truth to all theories. But what I find very interesting with your theory, Suzanne, with the 8 colors is it's always on track. In other words, any color that comes to me, there's always something. I love this in this book. Okay, I have a lot of little post-its. But I like to look, if you guys have this book on chapter 11, where it talks about coaches and trainers and working with clients or working with the clients.
I just have to show you this. This is the new edition. So you've been using it for so long, and I know you have both, but I just got to show you both. So, okay, keep going.
Oh, wait, I have one too.
You're right. Yeah, use that one. That's right. Use that. That's the one.
Goldberg first met Suzanne.
I got it.
When I called her on her cell phone. But so basically, this is like the Bible that I use for clients that are, especially when they're stuck. And how can I communicate in a way that is gonna, motivate them? And if they're stuck, I just say a couple words to them and off they go. So there's these systems, and that's been helpful in your book. So questions coming in, and we'll have access to these books at the end. Let's see. So here's a question. So one of the questions is, I suggest to all my clients to find a workout buddy, now a virtual buddy, social distancing buddy. Some like to work out with others and some don't. Does this correlate to their fitness personality?
Michelle, thanks. That's a really great question, because in the fitness advice, generally, fitness advice is to find a workout buddy. And for some fitness colors, that's fine. That's great. That's stimulating, I think. And I can talk about that. For others, working out is a time to disengage. It's a time to be alone. So it's very helpful to be in a culture that people are working out. When you have friends and family that are working out, that's great. That's wonderful. That really keeps you going. But for you, because of your personality, to think you're naturally going to want a workout buddy, that's incorrect. So, and it doesn't follow necessarily on the lines of extroversion, introversion. For instance, I'm just going to say the personality types that really enjoy working out more with others are Safrans, but they're very picky about who they work out with. It's got to be the right person, or else it's not going to work out. It's not going to be enjoyable. They're not going to keep it up. But the Safrans and the Reds and the Silvers, they really enjoy working out with others. That really keeps them the most engaged. So those are the ones that enjoy. And I would say certainly for the blue, I mean, the other personality types, they can work out with others. It's just not their preference. The blues and the golds and the purples and the whites, they want to get the job done. And so working out by themselves is fine. I can think of one time when I was going to a spinning class, and this Red that I knew, he's, let's go together. And I'm thinking, oh God, I really just want to go in and out. And, but I went with him and he was fine. And but he was just talking to the people way too much. And he was talking to the people at the desk, and he was telling them about a little bit too much information. It was not that the information was too much, but it was but too much time. I wanted to get home. I had finished it. So, they're just more sociable about the whole workout environment. So. Okay.
So great. So what would you say, and we had talked about this, one tip we're going to go through with these questions of how could clients. So I can share one of the things that I do. So with clients, with a virtual buddy or social distancing buddy, one of the tips that I do with clients is I'll tell them to text a friend, go work out. even though they're physically not working out with them anymore, but still it's just texting a friend and saying, I'm going for a run, sending them a picture. So I have my clients send me a picture before and after, with their hair all messy and sweaty and so
Yeah,
that's something showing, so a visual with the picture, texting, and being able to just,
great.
hey, this is what I'm doing today. You get to hear what they're doing today. And so that's one tip that I encourage coaches to help with their clients, to just, as an extra on staying on top of them, send me a photo after and text me, or text a friend and let them know you're.
Great.
Anything else you want to say about that?
No, I think if that works, that's great. That, that would not particularly, I'm just looking at a note here. That would not, Michelle, you and I were talking this morning. I mean, silvers are so sociable that they actually like to swim in the same lane with other people. It's like that they're in the extreme of sociability and fitness. And so for you, that would be great. That would be great for another silver, but might not be, that would certainly not entice a blue or a purple, because the motivation is different.
Yeah, because Linda said, I find my blues love virtual fitness training versus in person.
I said that. Okay, good. That's really great. I get that. Like blues want to get the job done, and they will adapt to other people, but only occasionally. It's not like it's gonna. What the 8 colors is how you regularly stay active. It's sort of regular exercise, how you regularly stay into it. So, a blue, if they have somebody coming in for a week, they might work out with them once or twice, but it's not something that's going to keep them motivated. They will adapt to it, but it's not motivating. So
Sure.
that's a difference. Yeah.
Great. So another question is, and they're all coming in now. So, do some fitness personalities, or I'm sorry, do some fitness personalities do better working out home base than others? Which ones and why?
That's so interesting. So I'm going to generalize here. Because I have to generalize. We have a short. I would say the job people, the job people, which are we didn't have time to go into this, but I will say that there are 4 fitness personality types that work out as a job. They enjoy what they do, but they really want to get it done and click it off their list for regular exercise. Those are blues and golds and whites and purples. And then there are play types that want to have fun from the get-go. That's green, red, silver, and saffrons. So just to say this generally, that there is a tension with job folks. I'm one. I prefer not working out at home because all around me I see unfinished tasks. I see the dishes. I see something that has to be organized. I see my bookshelf. It's just too distracting. So I think if a job, one of those 4 colors, the blues and the golds and the whites and the purples, are going to work out at home, they really need to create an environment that is not going to provide distractions. The other 4 types, the silvers, the saffrons, and the thanks, Michelle. The silvers and the saffrons and the reds and the greens are not going to be distracted by unfinished tasks. So this is just generally, just a general comment. I think if, for the job, folks, keep your environment as free from distraction as possible. It's not going to be such a problem for this other types.
So as we're talking about this, Suzanne, I just put up, everybody can see this, the circle. Maybe you could just go quickly through the concrete, abstract, play, and job, and what that means.
Okay. So,
somebody new.
Thanks, dear. From the job, so as I mentioned, the blues and the golds and the purples and the whites are job folks, and the bottom 4 are play. Now, the difference in the concrete and abstract has to do with what you notice in the physical world. And it's a really big part of exercise. So for instance, we were talking recently, green like the concrete types are very attuned to the changes in the physical world. And let's say to the change in the gravel or the plants or the clouds. They're really in that physical world in a way where it's very rewarding to be exercising. They will like to exercise outside because of all the joy of the physical world that they will see. Abstract people are more in their head. They can go out for a walk and say, oh, it's so great to be outside and I love it and it was a beautiful day, and they really don't know what they've seen because they tend to be in their heads more. So about 70% of the population is concrete, about 30% is abstract. So just for you to know that. And the books and on my website, there's a lot more information, but I just wanted to see if that is, just that is distinction there.
Great. So anyone have questions about this? And I'll as people are writing in. So what would you say is the tip on how coaches can help their clients with the personalities that do better with, so we talked about the home-based.
Right.
Is, colors that are not home-based.
Well, I would say that, let's just say pick a color, Michelle. Let me just trying to think about what specifically what color. Yeah,
let's talk about the blues and the golds, because those seem to be, I think, from what you've shared and then also what I've seen in coaching,
right,
colors that I know personally I've had to professionally motivate, every day. There's something to try and kind of figure out this puzzle with them of how to keep them motivated, because they're out of their routine. They don't have their trainer. They don't have their spinning studio. They don't have the safety, especially for the blues. So figure out what would be a good tip for coaches, myself as well, of how to get them into some type of routine that's similar to the past, but something that is going to engage them and keep them moving. Because the idea is to get people exercising daily.
Great. So I think this is a really, really great point, great question. I want to just say one thing. The blues and the golds are about 40% of the population. There's a very big chunk there. So it wouldn't be surprising that you would have a lot of blues and golds as clients. So I would say that with the blues and the golds, who really, really love routine, really enjoy routine, routine is satisfying. It's not like they're looking for change. They enjoy what they do. They take comfort in the success that they have. They enjoy keeping track. These are just some general characteristics. I'd say to keep them as close to their routine as they can while being home-based. So, for instance, if you have a blue that their cardio is, they really enjoy their cardio on, let's say, a treadmill. They could maybe, and they like keeping track. They can maybe rent a treadmill. That's a big thing too. But let's say they can. That's an option for some people. But you want to get them walking, and you want to get them. What they like to do is keep track, know what they're doing, keep it familiar, not create a lot of change. So I think keep the time the same. So I think the more routine for the blues and golds, the better. And not, go ahead.
I found too, I had a few clients that now they have the Peloton bike, so they've been using that, and then they have the app so that they're able to, keep everything on track, and they're thinking that with their Garmin or their Apple Watch, or so. Yeah. These measurable tools for them.
Right. I'd never try to move a blue or a gold away from what has worked for them in terms of measurement. I mean, there are all these tools out now what is work, stay with it. There's enough disruption in life right now. It's no fun to try something new. And maybe, there are probably a few blues on the call. Maybe they might, talk about what has worked for them, or chime in what has worked for them in terms of being active in this different environment. I see we have a few blues that are commenting. So it's always great to hear the words of the actual fitness personality.
Yeah, Hazel said I definitely agree.
I don't like to put blues on the spot because they don't like that too much. Having a routine is a must. I got it, Hazel. Yes.
Usually the same routine.
Yeah.
Blues or?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, do what works. Yeah. And this is like, you and I have discussed. I mean, I've had, a lot of times personal trainers will say to me, oh, we're going to really mix it up today. And I said, this is really not what I want. I don't. I would do what we did last Wednesday, please.
Questions come in. All right. So another one, someone actually emailed me earlier about this. So this gentleman said, he's actually a health coach. I'm trying to encourage my blue client to try we're talking about blues again. Is that all right? Or should we go to a different,
why don't we hear what he has to say? Yeah, let's hear this question and then we can.
Encourage my blue client to try different cardio exercises, but he just wants to stick with his tried and true cardio that is no longer available right now due to COVID. For example, he doesn't have his trainer, what I talked about, spinning studio. Do you have any suggestions on how to motivate him, get him to try something new? What can I do as his coach?
Well, as I said, keep it as similar as possible. Keep it as similar as to what he was doing as possible. Go for a walk, same 3 miles, same place, same time. If he's, just keep it as similar as it was before. And, just keep it as similar routine as you can possibly create. Okay. And so ask him also to write it down. It's very, blues are very conscientious. And when they write something down and commit to themselves, that's extremely important. So I would suggest that they do that, commit to themselves. It's really going to be the winner there. Actually, honoring what they said they were going to do is even more important than the exercise, really. I mean, I have interviewed a lot of blues and I've learned that.
Great. So I'm going to talk a little bit about efficiency. Oh, okay. Well, she's asking now. Efficiency. Okay. And look at that. So as a health coach, what's the most important thing and we'll just say even in general for people that aren't health coaches, what's the most important thing for people to keep in mind regarding when it comes to efficiency and harmony? And what is efficiency and harmony for some of the people that have taken the quiz and they come up white harmony, purple efficiency? So can you tell us a little bit briefly about what efficiency and harmony is, and also the most important thing, bullet point that we can keep in mind as coaches to how to motivate our clients?
Okay. So I'm going to make this brief. Michelle knows I can really go on, so I'm going to make it brief. There is, in terms of Myers-Briggs, there are 16 personality types. Okay. For the purposes of the 8 colors, I had to get it down to 8 because I wanted to make it accessible to people in the world, not just to Myers-Briggs professional. So it's 8. I took out the efficiency and harmony. I added it in too. So every one of these, it's mentioned more in my first book, but every one of these 8 colors has an efficiency and a harmony dimension. If you take the quiz, it's on the very bottom of your results. So, it doesn't shout out, but it's there. So the difference is that people with a preference for harmony are more oriented to personal relationships with their client, with their as a health coach. I think that personal relationship is more important. People with harmony respond to a certain kind of warmth, a certain kind of noticing them from the beginning. Like if you're if you are coaching somebody who's a harmony, you really want to connect with them personally more. How are you doing? How's your day? I'm thinking about you. These are warming comments to a person, harmony. People with a preference for efficiency, they want to get down to business right away. They they have nothing against the personal relationship, but it's kind of a waste of time for them in terms of coaching. So it really, one of the best examples when I was first working with this a fitness chain in San Francisco is that people with a preference for harmony are really warmed by a friendly fitness club, a friendly gym. People with a preference for efficiency think that a friendly gym is efficient. So it's just a different take, a different division on the personal. And I hope that's clear. I could go on, but I should stop.
Well, I think it's great with the, and again, I'm laughing because I can picture certain clients calling, and I know, okay, Mike's a wife,
Yeah,
and it's going to be, if he's efficient or if he's harmony, I know it's going to be a very quick call if he's efficient.
right.
Get it done. He doesn't want small talk. He doesn't want to hear about, it's just, what do I do? How do I do it? Where somebody else needs a little more nurturing, needs a little bit more
Right.
connection, relatedness. So it's amazing how it works.
And Michelle, another thing too is that people with preference for efficiency want more data. They want generally want more data. Like I'm, looking at the chat window, and I see when I gave the number 66%, which is the Myers-Briggs reliability or validity, I should say. The person who responded was an efficient, and they were pleased to have that number. They said, good, that was good. That data was important to them. For someone with harmony, if they were Myers-Briggs professional, it would be nice to have, but it's, most other people are not the data would not rise to the level of concern. So, we all have this in us, but it's to what level does it rise to the level of concern and importance? So, we all have these functions in us. I'm not saying we don't. It's just how important it is in coaching. And in this, the 8 colors it's giving you a quick guide to who that person is. So you've got somebody who's data driven. You want to give that to them.
Yeah, and I think also as a coach, when even just breaking up with, you think about the colors, but then you think about efficiency and harmony.
Right.
And if I say to my harmony person, my harmony client, and I say, you did a great job, you're amazing, you. If I say that to my efficient, the harmony likes that. If I say that to the efficient, I get an eye roll.
Yeah.
Need to really, it's like, just what was my time last time? What did I do better? It was like. Yeah. So I think it's important to really know your clients, what they are beyond the color, with efficiency and harmony.
I so agree with you. I think it's really one of the most important dimensions of the coaching, because I would say the coaches are much more likely to be harmony, and for them to understand that it's not a rejection or anything, but their efficient clients are just not going to give them the same kind of feedback as their harmony clients are.
Sure.
So it's just knowing and respecting these differences. I think the thing that I've always been attracted to about the Myers-Briggs, it really does respect differences.
Great.
Yeah.
So as a question, my Safran is a healthcare worker under tremendous stress currently, but still is very competitive with herself, keeping up with her rigorous exercise and not willing to give herself any break during this time, passive exercise, etc. Coaching suggestions?
No, I really don't. I really don't. I mean, I'm telling you, like a Safran efficient, they're just, they're hard on themselves. They keep them, I really don't have too many suggestions. Okay, I'll make a suggestion that they have fun in other ways. Like one of the ways that Safran efficients can relax is by, let's say, doing puzzles, playing games, doing something else that's more relaxing. and that gets their mind someplace else. So to balance that intense, they're not going to really listen to you if you tell them to lighten up, but I think to balance that with more fun is important, and that will help just to create more, ask them what would be fun for you, and they, make sure they're doing other things that are fun. It's interesting about Safran Efficients because they really seem very intense, and they are in some ways, but they're very fun loving too. They're very playful. Like for instance, I always remember that, this Safran Efficient person I interviewed who just really, just doesn't like gyms. He really can't stand the mechanics of gyms and the heavy metal all, but just loved to go to run. And he was in these ultimate Frisbee leagues, and he would run 4 miles, in an hour and just have the best time. Very, very playful. Safran's are really very playful people, but they look more serious than they are. So I get in touch with their playful side, and, don't take them so seriously, but don't try to talk them out of what they're doing.
That's true. So this was a question that we received that I think somebody earlier had asked about this. So this person is a client that came out of Safran on the quiz. We've heard this before. And she loved outside and wondered if maybe she's a green. How would I approach her question as a coach? So in other words, if we have a client that takes the quiz, they come out Safran, and then they start looking through the book, and I always like to send all my clients a book. That's one thing I want to recommend to all the coaches out there. Usually I'll send this little guide.
Yeah, people love the little one. Yeah.
People love to learn about themselves. So, but so how would you approach that? What could coaches do if your client comes back and says, I really think I'm a green, or I took the quiz again and now I'm a green?
Yeah, well, I mean, that happens a lot because, a Safran will resonate very often with the green description because they're similar, and they're, pretty easygoing and love to be outside and like to be unstructured, except if they have a very big goal that they're heading toward. But I would say that and I have heard this term so often, this phrase where greens will say, I get itchy, antsy, and irritable if I'm not outside. Greens have this pull to be outside that is very, very powerful, and they can get depressed if they're inside for too long. They are, they love getting the biggest view possible outside. So they're very oriented to the physical world in a way that is almost mesmerizing for them. I mean, and they don't know, but they're so at home in the physical world. Safrans are abstract types. They're not concrete, and they enjoy being outside for the freedom that it gives them. But again, if you ask them about the flora and the clouds and the changes in the pavement and where the tree, with the different budding of the trees from one day to the next, they're not going to know that. They're not going to notice that. So it's just a different orientation to the physical world. But as I said, I remember interviewing a green, and she said that getting outside is the most important thing and exercise is secondary. So it's, I think with the green, you get them outside and they're just going to start moving. And even in all kinds of weather too. I mean, nature is their nature. So.
Great. Suzanne, are there any fitness colors that are more active than others?
So I've never researched that, and I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not, there's some that might be more consistent at certain times, but I really can't say that there's some that are more active. And I think what the 8 colors does is provides a pathway for everybody to be active. But there's some people, I think, for instance, at gyms, people often associate exercise too closely with gyms, and they're not thinking that they're exercising if they're not at a gym. And this is kind of a cultural thing that, I got to go to the gym. And I remember remember presenting, after my book first came out, I presented at a very large company, and they were giving people incentives for going to a gym, and I said, so, and this is a huge company, it's a huge company in Minneapolis. And I said, so let me get this straight. They get credit, and they get credit on their insurance. I said, they get credit they go into a gym and swipe their card, but they don't if they go on a bike ride by themselves. And she said, yeah, that's right. And I just kind of let it sit there. But it's like, so, I think it depends. People love, yeah, there you go. People love, dog walking or that's exercise. It means any physical activity is just wonderful. And so I think people should give themselves a little more credit for what they might already be doing and try to see how, if they want to do more, but understand what their motivation is from what they're doing already too. That's
Sure.
a long answer, but
That's okay.
yeah.
And Michelle, she said that you hit it on the head with the heavy metal in the gym.
Yeah. I think people look at gyms and they go like, it looks like a torture chamber to them, especially the silvers and the Safrans. Ooh, it's like, ooh, that might, that's, you don't go to a gym, do you, Michelle? You're not a gym person, I don't think.
Never. Unless there's a massage person in there and I go get a massage, but no. No.
Yeah. But gyms are great. I like gyms. So.
Outdoors or in a studio with people, because I'm a silver.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a question for the health coaches out there. Is there anything you're struggling with right now, personally, with motivation? Because I always like to say, most people think a health coach, they have it all together. And it's really an illusion. I think that human beings, and it's really about, the structure and the systems that are in place and the team around you. And, it takes, it's like putting all these pieces together to make it work. And so I'm just curious if I've had a lot of health coaches that I coach come to me and say, I don't feel like, I'm working out enough. How can I be a coach? Or, I need to lose weight myself. How can I coach my clients to lose weight? And so I think that's a whole nother webinar. But, I'm just curious if any coaches out there are dealing with their own. I know, Meg, a while back, you were having some things on our first webinar with being a silver and, not feeling as motivated being on your own because you're not with a group. So just wondering if anybody out there to share if they had any struggles they're dealing with personally and or professionally. And if anyone has questions about also, Suzanne, we were talking about, I have a certain system as a health coach that I use to bring in the 8 colors of fitness into my coaching. So it's something, detailed in the design of the program.
Right.
Decide here and there, it's always. And so I just was going to share that real quickly, like a couple steps that the health
great.
So one of the things, the first thing with a client is I send a link to the 8 colors, and I'll make sure they take the quiz. Usually the first session we're together, and they'll send a screenshot of their color on my text, or they'll email it to me, and I get it back before their next session. Then I ship one of these books. I'm still waiting. Hopefully one day you'll get that. But book, it's a nice surprise. And, from there, I start reading and educating myself about my client. And it's different for everybody. I have a one-on-one practice. But so that's the first step that I do. And so I can then learn to speak their language, their color, words that I get to use from this book, even though it's the first book. But again,
I pulled out from interviews. I spent 6 years interviewing fit and physically active people of the 16 types. And when I went over my interviews, I pulled out the language. And so each chapter has words, for instance, that are typical of how that personality type thinks. So I don't know, Michelle, you can look at the difference between, reds. Just look at the difference, and you probably have it in front of you. The reds, how do reds speak as opposed to, we keep going back with blues, but let's say reds and whites are pretty different.
Yeah, so I just want to show, like, in the back of the book, when you guys, if you have the book, or will end up getting the book, in chapter 11, it's on coaches and trainers working with the colors. And so
Right.
as you highlights in the book, okay? So basically, I'll go through, let's say, reds, like you said, and I will look at certain patterns with the reds, as a coach, what I need to do, how to talk to them. And then I love at the bottom that you have keep in mind. So at the
Yeah.
bottom, color, it talks about efficiency and harmony. So
Right.
it's just a one page, which I really like, and I can quickly take a glance before the next session. And next thing that I do, educate myself, and then go to my client, and I'm able to speak to them and help motivate them in my language.
Right.
So
Right.
there's more, but that's just a start.
Yeah, like you would if you were coaching a red, you would really give information in bullet points, very, very quick information. They don't want a lot of information. They want to cut to the chase right away. Where if you were coaching a white who wants, a lot more information, I mean, they're just going to really study it. And I really remember so well one of my Myers-Briggs, this was in my early days of Myers-Briggs, and so she just loved to read, White Harmony, loved to read, big reader. And so I had a stationary bike in a room in our house. And she was visiting us. We were living in Vermont at the time. She was visiting us and actually doing a presentation on Myers-Briggs. So I showed her, and she wasn't working out. So I talked to her about her type and what she likes. So we looked at the stationary bike. I said, Leona, I know you love to read. So look, you have here's a stationary bike. You can be reading while you're working out. She said, that is so great. That is such a great idea. So I said, well, what do you think your next step? She said, I think I'm going to go read about stationary bikes. So it was just this great example. She's far from being in action. She's really at that early stage of studying. And I think it's important to really understand and appreciate the different stages that people are at in terms of readiness. But I just thought that was just great. She's going to read about stationary bikes.
Well, I think we had spoken about when I said when a white, this was back in the early years of coaching, a white hired me to train him for a marathon. And I think we had talked, and it's basically, he's not going to follow my program anyways, but I'll still give it to him.
Yeah, right.
It was own.
You were just one person that he was talking to. You were just one of the resources he was looking at.
Right. So now when a white comes, I just go, look, you're not going to follow what I'm going to give you, but I'm going to give you a program, and it works, and it's scientific, and it will, you'll have the measure it all, but you'll probably do your own thing and find a couple other people to help you along the way. And it becomes now, and they get to see that for themselves, how they are and themselves better. So
that's great, Michelle. That's terrific.
So Meg said, help me relate to clients as I've spent decades swimming, pool and open water, and now enjoy longer distance trail running. These have me starting and finishing with others, but often solo during. Anything you can share about this nuance?
Okay, so let me just look at that again. To help me relate to clients, I'm curious. What was the next word? Okay.
So let me repeat it slower. Sorry about that. To help me relate to clients, I'm curious as I've spent decades swimming, pool and open water, and now enjoy longer distance trail running. These have me starting and finishing with others, but often solo during. Anything you can share about this nuance? And she's a silver harmony.
Yeah, well, it sounds she's getting energy from people, but not directly interacting with them. So that works out perfectly well. That's her silver harmony way. Some silver harmonies like to be relating to people, but there's an energy field that she's getting, just by being around people. So, that's part of her extroversion too. if hope, if that, but I mean, there's a lot of aspects to extroversion, a lot of energy that extroverts get, a lot of energy that introverts get, like Safran, that are, it's subtle, it's kind of subtle. I mean, one thing that really helped me, I'm going off, Michelle, but I am, is that I'm an extrovert. And so we were living on Lake Champlain in Vermont, and we were living on the lake, and I wanted to buy a kayak. And once I really understood that after about 2 hours, I think that's kind of it for extroverts to be alone, working out. After around 2 hours, I wanted to be in contact with people. So, I got a kayak that didn't have a big thing that I'm not going out for the day. I didn't have to pack to go out for the day. About 2 hours was going to be it. Where, an introvert will savor extended time by themselves. They enjoy people, but they don't need people the way that extroverts need them. So it's a little bit different, but I think, so Meg as a Safran harmony, and I think,
Silver
as a silver harmony, yeah, she wants people around her.
Yeah, and Meg, I would say too, because I'm also Silver Harmony, that when I do longer runs, I usually will take my music. I've never
Yeah,
been a person, but during the COVID, I have become a music person
right.
because I'm on, um, even though I'm using Strava, the app. If you guys don't have that, it's great, especially for Silver Harmonies. But just to have some music, it feels like there's a person there.
Yeah.
A little bit of
Listen,
some music. So that's wanted to share that. So thank you.
I mean, extroverts are like, I like having often, I'll use Waze or, for a long trip just so I have somebody's with me. That's a real extroversion thing. I'll use something in a car, like a driving, directional device, because I want somebody there.
I understand.
Okay, so yeah, Hazel has a question. Let's see what she.
Hazel said, "I'm an introvert and not a joiner," and she's a blue.
Yeah.
An introvert and not a joiner, but I've enjoyed participating in online classes, different times, different choices.
Great.
A runner, blue, and music, and I love the isolation.
Right. I think, whatever, some personality types like to, books on tape. I know somebody I interviewed who was learning Japanese on tape while he was running. Some people like the isolation. Some people, Greens, for instance, can get overwhelmed if they're listening to music and paying attention to the environment. So, this is where, like, people say, well, recommend somebody to go out and run. Well, what does that mean? Are you going to run by yourself with other people? Do you want to be alone? Do you want to do you want to explore? Do you, what is it? Do you like to keep track? So I think once you start, I think what the 8 Coast is, it kind of gets you really into what your actual motivation is, and it will make exercise a lot more enjoyable and easier to stick with. If that makes, but music is great for some people. For some people, they just want to zone out. So find what you like, and during these COVID times, there are other things that are working on people, and pay attention to those. Be good to yourself.
Great. So I just want to say one more thing during this time with COVID going on and everything, that it's really an opportunity time. That's what even with the blues and the golds, I'm always trying to kind of encourage my clients to look at all of this from a different perspective. It's a time to spend with your family more. It's a time for, new business adventures, and, same with exercise. Try something new, try something, I bought a bike after 17 years of not riding, realized I love it now again, just something different and new. And
for some people,
you'll always have your routine,
yeah.
What'd you say?
I said for some people. I mean, Michelle, I just had such a kick out of talking to you about, all the new stuff that you're doing, which is, silvers are so opportunistic, and this would be like a silver or a Safran who, a Safran might, want to get to the beach and decide to, okay, they want to get to the beach. So how are they going to get to the beach? They're going to get a bike. It's a whole different motivation. And then they might have started biking from that, but the motivation was more to explore an area that they're in and go to the beach, So it's just so different for each, finding out like, okay, what's that hook there? What's that hook? And some types really want to explore and sometimes want to make things as familiar and comfortable as they can be. So this is where, one size does not fit all. And it's just, it's just wonderful.
Wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
I know for our time, I can't believe it flew by already. So you guys, everybody will be getting an email after, just about 10, 15 minutes or so after our webinar. And it'll be a thank you email with all our information, my website, Suzanne's website, Suzanne's books. And we will definitely have you on for our next webinar that we're going to hopefully get Suzanne to come back again and chat.
Well, this is great. This was great. I know, do we have the capacity to put other people on this, get their, could other people talk about their experiences on this? Like I'm seeing some blues talking about solo, loving being an ultra marathoner and really enjoying that solo time. Are they able to talk about that experience for them, or does this platform provide that?
Do you mean to see them face to face?
Yeah, can they?
That I need to find out. Suzanne and I tried to do.
Okay. Oh my God, no, that's fine. I'm just looking at, you've got an ultramarathoner from New Zealand. Wow, that's so great. That's so great. It's so great.
Platform, so we'll look into that because it would be nice to see a face or something.
Yeah.
Like Hazel. And so let's see. Hazel Harrison. Oh, she's giving our webinars, the team. So she's giving our information. So thank you, Hazel, for your information. She's a business and run coach. And so I just want to thank all of you, especially you, Suzanne, for being
great to be here. And Michelle, thanks for all that you're doing for health coaches. I think it's just wonderful. I really do, because you're really out there and keeping people healthy, and they keep other people healthy. So.
Well, thank you. I love health coaches and I love exercise. So thank you. But it's just been so grateful that you developed this concept, because it's worked wonders and it's helped clients lose anywhere from 10 to 100 pounds. And
amazing.
You've changed a lot and you realize. So thank you. And I hope all you health coaches out there, and just personally, professionally, grab one of these. I think it's a great guidebook. I always keep it in my briefcase. It's small enough when I used to travel. Not now. And if you have any questions, please email Suzanne or myself. And we look forward to seeing you all next time. And I think we will, let me see if I put a handout on here. No, I didn't.
The 8 colors has, and I will just say, if you take the quiz, you get a 400-word description of your personality, and it's divided into the 5 categories, which is motivation, approach, preferred environment, interpersonal connections, and the 5th one, sorry about that. Focus, what you pay attention to, what you prefer to pay attention to. So your description will be there, and all the research I did prior to the book coming out, there are professional articles that were in Myers-Briggs journals. They're all there too, and things that you can reproduce and go for it. Enjoy being you. That's
is be yourself. Don't look to be somebody else, and do not ask your clients to be somebody else. They are who they are, and embrace them, admire them, cheer them on, especially now. And, just get out there every day and move. And it's just so helpful. It is really medicine, exercise. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Michelle. Take care. Bye.
Seeing everybody next time. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.